Hello, my name is Elena Pei, and to provide some background on myself before we begin today's presentation, I am currently a senior at East Tennessee State University, and I am pursuing my Bachelor's of Science in Computing with a concentration in computer science. The reason for today's presentation is for my Software Engineering 2 class. So let's begin. I have chosen my topic on feature-driven development. Here is my presentation overview. I will start with a definition of feature-driven development, some history, then I will provide a more in-depth view, including the 5 processes, roles, some additional roles worth mentioning, feature teams, then I will give a recap of the Agile philosophy, feature-driven development and Agile philosophy, some benefits, disadvantages, and finally give a conclusion. So what is feature-driven development? It is an agile methodology with a focus on incremental development through implementation of features. Feature-driven development is client-centric. That means that these features focus on client-valued functionality. For some history of feature-driven development, it was created from a large and complex project that had already had a failed attempt. Jeff DeLoca, Peter Cold, and Stephen Palmer can be attributed for the creation. This project happened in the 1990s, and the creators can be held responsible for the eventual success. According to the creators, there are 5 processes. First is develop a model. This is a high-level understanding of the project. This is done through domain members giving insight into what the project needs. Through this, informal details of features are created and put into a list or lists. Number 2 is create features list. This is to identify, group, and prioritize those features. For number 3, plan by feature. This is to assign and establish due dates. For number 4, design by feature. This is to create a detailed design for those features. For number 5, it is build by feature. This is to develop, inspect, test, and to integrate. Here we have a diagram for the 5 processes previously stated. We have develop an overall model, build a features list, plan by feature, design by feature, and build by feature. This was taken from Chapter 6 of Java Modeling in Color with UML, which was written by the creators of feature-driven development. For the roles, we have project manager. The project manager is responsible for the overall scope of the project. They also have key responsibilities of a project manager, like timelines, budgeting, making sure that the team has resources and access to those resources. We also have chief architect. This is a skilled technical person responsible for resolving conflicts related to the design of the project. They also hold workshops for the team to design and collaborate on the project. We also have development manager. They're responsible for leading everyday activities and resolving conflicts. We also have chief programmers. The development manager is responsible for resolving the conflicts that the chief programmers cannot resolve on their own. The chief programmers are seasoned or trusted programmers that have shown technical experience. They are responsible for leading development teams. That is why they need a past shown demonstrated knowledge of programming. We also have class owners because in feature-driven development, each class has a class owner, and that class owner is responsible for the design and implementation of a class. This gives a little bit of uniformity to each class because it's only been designed and implemented by one programmer. It also gives a sense of ownership. We also have domain experts. Domain experts can be seen as the business voice. Domain experts are people like clients or users or overall people on the team that can give insight into what the system should do and what it should look like, as well as what the features should do and how they should work. For feature teams, the chief programmer creates a feature team by a single feature, and that team is responsible for that feature. They consist of class owners that have classes that are related to that feature. There are also some additional supporting roles that are worth mentioning that are used in large-scale projects. We have domain manager. They're responsible for leading the domain experts. So they are essentially responsible for resolving any requirements issues related to the project that a domain expert may propose. We also have release manager. They ensure that chief programmers report progress each week, and they report to the project manager. We also have language lawyer or language guru. They are commonly outside contractors or consultants who are brought in to train the team on a specific technology or language that the team is new to. The goal of this role is that eventually the team will not need this person. We also have build engineer. They are responsible for configuration management, like version control. They're also responsible for publishing documentation as well as deployment scripts. We also have toolsmith. The toolsmith is commonly a junior or maybe a new grad who doesn't have as much technical background. They're responsible for keeping and supplying documentation to the team. Ideally, they keep this in a single location, maybe a database or a website. The overall responsibility of the toolsmith is that the team has access to any information that they need. We also have sysadmin because in a large-scale project like this, we wouldn't want to place the responsibility of upkeep of servers and of the network to an existing role. For a recap of the Agile philosophy, I've included these because I feel they're important to remember. So number 1, welcome a changing environment, early and often delivery of working software, and collaboration. Feature-driven development welcomes change through the communication between clients and team members. This is done through the processes. Feature-driven development also allows change by being incremental and iterative. Working in small batches makes things easier for when changing requirements occur. It's easier to accommodate to these changing requirements when you keep things simple. Feature-driven development and Agile. Because the creators combined many best practices, there's a huge overlap between Agile and feature-driven development, but it's also worth noting that feature-driven development was created before the Agile Manifesto was written. While feature-driven development places heavy emphasis on the process, it is important to follow the agile philosophy. We want to make sure that we are accommodating to changing requirements and being agile. Feature-driven development pretty much has processes in step in place to make sure that this stuff happens. So when should we use feature-driven development? It is mostly best for medium to large-scale projects. Feature-driven development allows for parallel development and can accommodate larger teams because different teams can be working on a different feature concurrently. It's also best for cultures that support collaboration because in feature-driven development, there is a lot of emphasis on collaboration between the different roles. And if there is not an environment for that to happen, it would be hard for a feature-driven development project to be successful. It's also best for environments with expertise available. Diverse skill sets and expertise are necessary for these projects to be successful. So, in maybe a smaller business where you don't have as many chiefs, essentially, senior people that have a demonstrated background in programming, it would be hard for a feature-driven development project to be successful. That doesn't mean that it can't happen, it just means it'd be pretty difficult. For some benefits, for this diagram that I created, I started off with simplicity. Breaking functionality into features leads to frequent deliveries because we want frequent delivery of working software to the client. Simplicity is a core of this. We also have frequent deliveries leading to an environment for transparent results. Transparent results lead to a rewarding environment for everyone on the team. Feature-driven development emphasizes documentation. This is done through status reports. The creators of feature-driven development advise on having visible weekly progress reports for everyone on the team. They also advise that in these reports, there's more of an emphasis on what was achieved rather than what was not achieved. Pretty similar to what we've learned in software engineering. We also have mentoring across the team. There's a lot of mentoring going on between the roles. The chief architect is responsible for mentoring the chief programmers, who then mentor future team members. But this isn't just exclusive to them. There's mentoring going on between team members, and the project manager is also responsible for the overall project, so they will be responsible for providing any mentoring that they are a bit able to do. For some disadvantages, for lack of a better term, the project leaders, like the project manager or the chief programmers, chief architect, if they are overly confident, they can become controlling. This is just inevitable to positions of power. If they are giving experts' point of view um, this will just lead to large issues because they are falsely giving advice. Because of the processes of feature-driven development, it can sometimes be hard to adapt to changes. There can inevitably be a lot of dependencies that happen through the building of the features, because if a feature becomes behind, then the features that are supposed to come after that, they will also become behind. So for a conclusion, feature-driven development is an iterative process for enabling short time blocks for early feature releases. Feature-driven development allows for progress to be measured across the team through documentation. This leads to transparent results. Here are my citations.